Hello, my crafty friends. Well, today I have some simple fun fold card ideas that I want to share with you. Now, these fun fold cards are just a little bit different from what you've seen in the past because they have a simple wow factor on the inside of the card. Hi, it's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. In this episode of Stamptastic TV, I have two different card ideas that I want to share with you that have a pop-up slider on the inside of the card. It's super simple to create, and once you know how to do it, you are going to use this to create cards for any occasion. Now, the cards in this video feature the Branching Out bundle from Stampin' Up. So this particular bundle has a stamp set and a coordinating die set. And since I wanted to create Christmas cards, I am also using just some of the Christmas greetings and sentiments from the traditional label stamp set. However, keep in mind you can use this fun fold card idea with any supplies you have on hand. So this is the card that I am going to walk you through, and I'm going to show you how to create this design. You can create it in this portrait style, or you can also create it in the landscape style. The only difference between the portrait and landscape style is just how you decorate the card. So you're going to start with a 4 1/4 by 11 inch piece of cardstock, and you're going to score it at 1 3/4 inches and 7 1/4 inches. So this, when this is folded, it will be an A2 size card. So it kind of looks like a little matchbook. So the little 1 3/4 inch section will be the bottom of the card, and then this will be the top flap for your fun fold card. So the next piece that you want to cut is just a 3 3/4 by 5 3/8 inch piece of white cardstock. And I just scored up at the top here, I just scored a 1/2 inch in. So I'm not going to fold this right now because we're actually going to do a little bit of stamping on this. But these are the basic pieces that you need to create the fun fold design. So to decorate my card, I'm just going to use some of these layering decorative label dies, and these come from the Branching Out die set. So I just cut one in early espresso, and then I cut the smaller one in white. So we're going to go ahead and do our stamping first, and then I will show you how I put this card together. So these are the colors that I'm using for my card. So I have early espresso, shaded spruce, real red, and crumb cake. So we're going to start by stamping our branches in early espresso. So I'm just using the smallest branch in this set, and we're just going to stamp on this piece, which is actually going to go in the inside of the card. And then we are going to stamp on this piece. And I'm just going to add my greeting right away towards the bottom here. Now we're going to use the shaded spruce, and we're just going to add some of the pine needles. So we will add these up towards the top here. And we'll add some more on the side. And we'll do the same over here. Then you can use this individual one to just kind of fill in some of the other spots, and that's pretty much what I did, just to add a little bit more green in here. Then we're going to use real red, and we are going to add some little berries. So we will add these just right in here. And then let's add some of these other ones in here. And then the last thing I did is use this crumb cake ink, and I just used a little sponge wedge here and just kind of went around the outside of this piece. And then you can do the same on this piece. So this piece, you'll notice this top part has this half inch wide score line. So you really only need to do this part of the piece. So you just fold that score line back, and then you just go ahead and add the crumb cake ink along the edges. You don't have to worry about the bottom here because that's going to get tucked in. Then once I went around the whole thing and got the edges, I just took a little blending brush and just kind of blended in some of this color. All right, so once you have all that color just kind of blended around the edges of each of these pieces, I just used the little splatter image that is in this particular set just to add a little bit more design on both the inside and outside of this card. So we'll just add a little bit on each side. All right, so now we are ready to put our card together. Okay, so you basically want to do all your stamping and decorating before we actually put the card together. So let's go ahead and adhere these two pieces together. So this will be our main focal point for the front of the card. I have two little pine cones here that I cut from a piece of pecan pie cardstock. So we're just going to add these right away. All right, so let's go ahead and put this together. So I'm just going to move some of this over. Let's bring back our card base. So let's go ahead and decorate the front. So for the front, I have two pieces of pattern paper. So I'm just using some of the wood grain paper from the Country Woods Designer Series paper pack. So we want one for the top, one for the bottom. So this piece for the top is 4 by 3.5 inches. And I basically just added some crumb cake ink all the way around, just kind of used that sponge like I did on these other pieces. And I just added a little bit of crumb cake all the way around this. And then this piece here is just a 1.5 by 4 inch piece. And that is going to go on the bottom here. So that is what the front of our card will look like. All right, so now we're ready to adhere our focal points. So I just added some dimensionals. You just want to add dimensionals just towards the top because this bottom part here is just going to overhang onto the bottom of the card. So we'll just add this right in the center there. So that's the start of our fun fold. Now let's go to the inside and we're going to adhere our little pop-up slider. So you want to open this all the way up and you just want to lay it inside your card. So it's going to be pretty close to flush down on the bottom here and on the top. It gives you a little bit of wiggle room. And what we're going to do is we're going to add some glue just to this 1/2 inch section up at the top here. We're going to hold this in place and just close the top of the card. So we're going to give this a second to set up and then I will show you what the slider looks like. All right, so basically this is going to open up and it's going to pull this piece. It's going to pull this piece because I have it adhered to the top of this card base. So it's going to pull it up, but it's not going to pull it completely up out of this pocket down on the bottom. So we need to adhere this pocket down on the bottom because when you open it, it just flaps like that and we don't want it to flap. So we're just going to hold this down and I'm just going to use some of these foam strips. So I cut these foam strips about 1.5 inches and we're going to put one on each side. So we'll put that on each side and then just peel off this backing. And then we are going to bring this down and we're going to fold this over. All right, so now when you open the card, it has this fun little slider. So you can see it just slides in and out of this piece down on the bottom. So this piece really is just to hold this slider in place. So it gives you just a little bit of depth and dimension, just kind of a fun little wow factor for the inside of the card. And you can open the card all the way. It's not going to come out of this little pocket. So I just thought it was just kind of something different that we can do with our cards to just add that wow factor. And it's super simple to create this. So now, just to finish off my card, I'm just going to add a little glue dot up on the top here and just add a little bit of linen thread tied into a bow. And that makes just a really beautiful Christmas card. And again, you can stamp something on here. You can open this all the way and write your personalized message. There's lots of different ways that you can use this design. All right, so this is the portrait style pop-up slider. And of course, I like to give you options. So I'm going to show you how you can also do this in landscape style. So you can have the same kind of pop-up slider, but it just comes from the side instead of from the top. So all the measurements for creating the landscape style are identical to the portrait style. The only thing I changed was just how I decorated it. So how I added my label shape on the front and then where I stamped my design on the inside. Okay, so there you go. Now you have two different ways that you can use this pop-up slider design in your card making. And if you enjoyed these card ideas, feel free to download the printable tutorial. You can find the link in the description below this video. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by liking it and sharing it with your friends. And leave me a comment below to let me know what you enjoyed most about the video and the cards shared here today. Have a fun and creative day, my friends. Take care.